Hello, everyone. It's another episode of Tailgate Talk. We're your boys, David, Nick, and Joseph. Boys, that are the people.
Oh well, we're just sorry, people. We're getting over a cold open take that occurred right before we went live here.
Things were said, concerns were expressed, but we're here. We're rocking. It's another week of college football. I mean, we're down to the wire. We have 2 weeks left of the, I think, probably the most crazy season of regular season college football I've seen in years. Going on decade, maybe. Can only be one
I
decade.
I think definitely the most meaningful down the stretch. I think the most meaningful season as a whole too. I mean, I know we've talked about it plenty, but on my side of things, it's just crazy how impactful each game of this season was and how impactful it continues to be down the stretch. Games just mean more this season with the 12 team playoff.
It's huge. We've got this last week with a lot still to be determined. I mean, you look at the ACC, and it's going to go down to the final week of the season to find out who's playing in that championship game. You've got Big 12 still wide open. You've got some
Big 12,
movement happening this week with the Big 10 with Indiana, Ohio State. I mean, there's a bunch of big games coming up to
Big
determine.
12, Big 12 could very well play themselves out of a playoff spot.
which would be
And
hysterical.
I know a lot has to happen, including my team to lose this week. But I mean, it goes to the five highest ranked conference champions. And if you have Colorado lose this week to Kansas, which is very possible, Vegas only sets a 3 point spread. And then you have ASU beat BYU. You have then a you have all three teams with two losses going into a conference championship game. And unless something major happens, like if Army beats Notre Dame this week, they would theoretically jump Notre Dame, and I know they would that Notre Dame would drop, and they would go over them, but they would still probably be on the bubble. And then all of a sudden, let's say that ASU causes trouble against BYU this week, and Kansas causes trouble against Colorado. The Big 12 could very well play themselves out of a playoff spot, and it could go to the American, which is crazy because who would have thought that in the first year of the 12 team playoff, where everyone thought, oh, only one G5 school is going to get in, you could very well have two. So I think it's going to be very, very interesting. And the SEC is doing their little fun and games to try and keep Indiana out of the spotlight.
That was
And
a hit piece. That was
I will
disgusting.
I will not have it for my man Kurt Signetti, okay, former coach of Elon College. So I think that Indiana, as long as they keep it close, I've heard a lot of talking heads over TV this week say 3 touchdowns or less. I think it's two. I think if you lose by 2 touchdowns or less, you're good. If you lose by more than 2 touchdowns, I think you're gonna find your way out of the 12 team playoff. I think it's very, very possible because you haven't played anybody.
I
So
mean, and Indiana could mess around and win this game, and then what happens?
well, then we have a
Then you've
problem
got then
because
you've
you
got
would have
Ohio State with 2 losses to top five teams. What else on their schedule?
nothing. And then you have Indiana play and the number one Oregon, who I know they slept walk last week, and I know in the beginning of the season they were not getting off the bus, but they've seemed to put it together here as of late, minus last week. So we'll see what
To be
happens
to be
there.
fair about Oregon last week, they hadn't had their bye yet. Like that was the longest any team in the country had gone without their bye consecutively. And Camp Randall is a tough place to play, regardless. Like I don't care how Wisconsin's doing on the year. Uh,
I mean,
Camp Randall at night is a tough environment. So I mean, especially in November when it's cold. I mean, I know Oregon's a cold climate, but I mean, it's just Wisconsin's a different breed at night. So I mean, I don't really put too much stock in that. I just think that a tough conference game, and I mean, good teams find ways to win when the odds are stacked against you. So I don't really fault Oregon for winning that way.
And the other thing to mention, talking about the upcoming playoffs, is I know Texas is sitting at number two right now in the seeding, but if they lose to Texas A&M and not this week, the following. And I know we'll talk about it more next week, but they could find themselves out too because you have a lot of SEC teams that are going to be hammering to get in. I mean, we saw it this week with all the talking heads talking about how are you going to put an Indiana team that hasn't played anybody in over a two-loss SEC team, and recency bias obviously still matters to this committee. It mattered a lot to the last committee of what you did recently, right? We talk about if I lose a game to Northern Illinois, let's say hypothetically in week 2, but then I don't lose for the rest of the season, I'm good. But if I beat Georgia and I have lost to Kentucky and LSU, which hasn't aged well, I and as long as I beat Georgia 2 weeks before, I can find myself back in. So, I mean, recency bias does definitely matter to this committee, and it's going to come down to who can finish strong and who can. It's going to come down to the hottest teams, no matter who you're playing, no matter what your strength of schedule is in the last 2-3 weeks here.
Before we move on, you brought him up. I actually just realized I played at a camp in front of Kurt Signetti at Elon when I was a about to be a senior in high school, trying to get recruited back in North Carolina back in the day. So fun fact there.
Um, I don't know, like I'm not a super fan or whatever, but obviously, just like the rest of America, I have kind of fallen in love with his coaching style this year. Every interview that I see of him just makes me like crack up. I think he's very old school in that sense. And he's very like direct and to the point. So as of right now, knowing what I know, I'm a large fan of his, and obviously, your cousin and my my significant other went to Elon, so I'm repping the Kurt Signetti gear that I do have, even though he's no longer there and he's the head coach in Indiana.
It'll be a big couple of the next couple of weeks for college football. So buckle up, enjoy the ride. I'm so excited to watch it.
Yeah,
With
I
that,
mean,
let's go ahead and get into some picks.
it's also not going to get any while he pulls up the picks. It's not going to get any less exciting coming going into the playoffs in December here too. So just keep that in mind too. Like it is exciting now, it's going to get even more exciting then. Go ahead.
Week 13, boys. I had the best week at 2-2. Rough
Oh,
week for
one
the
and three.
what rough week for the group.
Ooh.
Um,
Oh,
you know,
I
I'm
go
not.
0-4, and I still only dropped 2 games on Nick for the week. That's not too bad. I'll take that on my worst week of picks ever.
I thought I went 2-2, but I 1-3 is terrible. I got that's bad on me.
Yeah, not all of us can go 2-2. So try to keep up, boys. Um,
Darn.
yeah, you know.
I'm trying to make it interesting. I'm what 7 games ahead of you, Nick, at this point, and we've got 8 picks left to make.
Bowl season, baby. 300 picks coming
Cannot
down the
wait.
barrel, looking right at you.
Are we adding on to this record for bowl season? Or are we
Yes,
starting
that's what
new?
we did last year.
Oh, okay. The math budget will have to math, but I can
Just
add
know that
subtract.
there will be a there will be a hard moment in time at the end of the regular season that you're gonna have to look
Oh,
at me
you're
and say,
already
David,
saying, oh, okay,
I couldn't
okay,
do it. And then I'm gonna wipe the floor with you in the bowl game picks.
sure, sure.
We also got, I think, what, I guess it's what, 9 now picks to make for conference championship week.
Yeah.
Got a lot of picks left to make. You got some time, but boy, you're running out for the regular season.
A lot of time left, boys. A lot of time left.
We could get crazy and throw in FCS playoffs too if we want to get really
Whoa.
wild.
Lafayette, national champions. I don't know how they're doing this year, but they were excellent last year.
Furman's having a rough year, but it's always rolled ins. Let's get into picks. Uh, I'll start
Roll
with
with
the
it,
lock.
people.
I'm rolling with Boise State over Wyoming. Um, I think Joe's analysis last week was Wyoming is bad. So I'm just gonna say that Wyoming is bad, and Ashton Genty is really good. So give me Boise State. I'm thinking, did I pick Boise State as a lock already? I feel like I did.
I don't know. I'll allow it.
I
Did I?
won't.
Did I?
You did not.
Let's go. All right, we're good.
But
David
unless
did.
you picked them
David did.
last week and didn't update it.
David did. All right, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm
I'm
fine.
checking it. I didn't pick them last week. I picked Wazoo last week, but
I know,
there
but
are
at
some
one
people
point,
not keeping up with their track record of who their locks are. I'm just going to throw that out there. Joe,
Yeah, definitely me. I don't know who I picked. For like the first like 6 weeks, I was on board with that, and then I slowly forgot.
either way, Boise State.
Michigan State minus 13 and a half. I'm going with the same mantra as last week. I think Purdue may be worse than Wyoming, which that says something. So Purdue may be the worst team in all of college football. Michigan State's at home here. Give me the Spartans. Give me Coach Smith, right? That's who's there. Coach Smith. I think he dominates this by way more than 13.
I'm taking the Fighting Irish over Army here.
Oh
14 and a
boy.
half point spread.
Oh boy.
It's
Oh
time
boy.
it's time to give Joe some heart palpitations
Oh
about
boy.
this game. Nick tried to throw some shit at him the other week. Didn't work. It's my turn.
Oh
This would
geez.
be,
Well, it
I
worked
would
for me because
really
I won the
enjoy
pick.
it if this didn't hit and Army came up with the upset. That would be hysterical. So we're gonna see if I can give you some bad juju, Joe, to repay your Clemson pick from a couple weeks ago.
I didn't do that intentionally. See, that's the difference between you two and I. I did that
Yep,
as
I am maliciously doing it. So
yes,
let's
that is
I
go.
think.
correct.
Wait.
There's
I
intent
think I
behind
won.
this.
I think I won my Notre Dame bet or my Notre Dame pick.
Yeah,
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 you
So you
did
should.
because
the
it was
bad juju
either
didn't work, Nick. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
no, you should
Now
be
I'm
thanking me. You should be
yeah,
thanking me.
it was either Notre Dame lost or you won your pick, and you said you were okay with either.
Yeah. And Notre Dame won their one, so I don't want to hear it. They beat Florida State, so leave me alone.
This game definitely does give me heart palpitations though.
Yankee
I
Stadium.
yeah, I don't love any of this. I don't know how I there's gonna be some adult beverages flowing on Saturday.
Army. My pick 'em. I'm surprised A&M's only a 2.5 point favorite over Auburn. I'm not gonna lie. I think Elko's got the boys ready to go. Yeah,
Oh, did you see
I was shocked that this line was this low.
did you
So
see his quote in the
I
last
did,
week's
and
press conference?
it's a little concerning, but you know what? I just think this is crazy that it's this low. So
Well, that's because they're focusing on Texas.
it doesn't matter. They're gonna win this game. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
But give me the Aggies.
Um, I'm I've been on Arizona State all this year. You can look back through all my picks. I've been an Arizona State stan this year. Cam Scatterbo, Sam Levitt is just tossing. He's slinging the rock around. Really like Arizona State here. I think it was only a matter of time before BYU slipped up. They are not the TCU from 2 years ago. They are a dollar store version of that. So give me the Sun Devils here -3 in the pick 'em. Make things interesting in the Big 12.
I'm picking SMU over Virginia here. I don't like it. I'd like for SMU to lose and then find a way to lose to Cal next week because that'd be good for Clemson. But I don't know. I feel like the Mustangs just have too much firepower this year. They're going to cruise to a undefeated ACC regular season and be right there for the ACC championship game.
I have a question about our picks process here. Aren't Pick'em supposed to be within a single possession? I just realized.
I think, but I'll allow it because it's really his choice. Like I think that him having to win by more than 10 is really up to him. It can't be less
Pick'ems
than a
are
touchdown, I think.
Pick'ems aren't spread. The only ones that are spread is locks. He just needs them to
Mhm.
win.
Mm.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
Yeah. And I will say this. There have been multiple occasions where you two have gone the other way, where you have picked a 10-point spread. This is the first time in the history of this podcast that I had made this type of pick on Pick'em. So
I
we
don't recall, to be honest.
We might have to go in the archives for that, but that's a discussion for another
we
time.
can. There was a whole thing about it. There was a whole text message exchange about it last season.
All right. All right. I'll let it slide. Upset, which is what we're gonna be. Marshall over Old Dominion. This is the classic. Marshall has a better record than Old Dominion, but since they're on the road, they are the dog. Just give me the herd. System play here. Like I said, better record, better team. That's a system.
Isn't this week the whole Marshall anniversary too?
If it is, I love it even more.
I could be wrong. I think it's this week though. It's either this week or it was
You
this
messed up,
past
Nick.
week.
Stand by.
A little bit messed there.
I would take the herd if that's the case.
What
I
do you
would
mean messed
hammer
up?
the
You always
herd.
pick them on the anniversary.
It's
Just
really
playing
Always,
for
messed up to bring it up like that, the way you did.
always pick them on the anniversary. That team does not lose on their anniversary.
I'm looking at here. I'll go to the next pick. I'll look it up.
Okay. Western Kentucky here. I don't know why I made this pick, but this pick was
Vibes. I
Did
think we
he
lost
freeze?
Joe.
Big Red +1 over Liberty.
He did. He straight up froze.
I say, give me
I'm
Big
just saying,
Red.
I love the pick, Joe, just because of Western Kentucky's mascot. Best
I say,
mascot in all of college football.
give me Big Red +1 over Liberty. Don't know why. Felt super compelled to do it. No rhyme or reason behind it. Just kind of going with what my
Liberty is
eyes
Liberty is
were
not a
dictating.
good football team this season.
I think it's
Yeah,
just the name that's giving them the favorite. Are they? Is it at Liberty?
I
It has
don't
to be.
know.
Were they in the
Also, I
Big
looked.
Sky?
No, they're in the Sun Belt. Liberty is no, they're not in the Sun Belt. What am I talking about? Are they in the American?
You're in the American.
No, they're in the Conference USA. Oh my God! Wow.
Oh my God, Nick.
I'm
College
embarrassed.
football podcast.
I'm embarrassed.
Yeah, it's at Liberty. Liberty's now a 1.5 point favorite.
Did you figure out the Marshall anniversary date?
Yeah, it was a week ago from today. So November 14th, 1970.
Okay, so it was
So
last
so
week
the
then.
week to pick them was last week.
Well, we missed it. We missed our shot. Remember it for
Curbs,
next year,
you
gentlemen.
right.
Remember it for next year.
I'm ready. I'm itching. Give me Kansas. They're
Wow.
on. This is gonna be great.
I don't hate it. I don't
I
hate it.
love it. I love the Jayhawks here. Give me Kansas.
Kansas is playing good football right now, and
Well,
they were supposed to be a good team. I don't hate it. Is it in Boulder?
They have a good coach.
yes, it is, and it don't matter. It's happening either way.
But did you guys see in other news while this team is still up on the screen? Did you guys see that 5-star Juju Lewis committed to Colorado today?
Did see that.
No, but I know that that's not a buffalo; it's a bison.
All right.
All right.
Did you also see that 5-star Bryce Underwood flipped from LSU to Michigan
Yeah, I
for
thought like
over
a
10?
week ago. Wait, time out. I thought like a week ago this kid was like, nope, definitely not going to Michigan. Dave Portnoy, keep your money, or allegedly Dave Portnoy, keep your money, or whatever it was. And now all of a sudden he's changed his mind a week later. Sketchy.
It's not
Shocked?
sketchy. It's money. That's 100% what happened. He got paid. They upped the offer 100%.
But it wasn't it 10.5 last week? What'd they up
It
it
was
to?
probably they probably upped it to 12, and that's probably. I mean, you'd be dumb not to take it for if you got offered $12 million to go play football as an 18-year-old.
And there's a lot I would do for $100 right now.
Yeah, yeah. I would go play football for I don't know who, somebody I don't like.
I'm just saying, 50
This is
bucks,
I would
this
go
50
is
play.
bucks, man.
I would go play football for Ryan Day for $12.5 million.
And that's saying something. See, this is why I wish I was a quarterback and not a lineman because I could have made a lot of money.
That's the problem. Yep, yep,
Yeah.
that was it.
D1, baby.
For like
Never
three
take that away
weeks.
from you guys.
It was actually an entire summer. Thank you very much.
Never take
All
that
right,
away from
well,
you guys. You were D1.
entire summer worth of puking. Got it.
There's that light.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank
That's
you.
it. What is their mascot?
Paladin next. Over under. Army Notre Dame over 45 and a half. Army's offense is electric, and if Notre Dame is known for one thing, it's for scoring on the service academies. So that equals points.
Also, before you change the slide, I have to make a public service announcement. I have failed this podcast. I have failed my listeners. I have failed my fans. Um, and
He
you'll see
did
why
it.
in a second.
He did it. Yeah.
I, for the first time, have taken the under. I could
Join
not.
me. Join me.
I had laughed at this number. I
That's
thought
right.
about I thought about taking it over somewhere else, but this number is comically large, and I had to take this number.
Watch it
Um,
hit now.
two
It
weeks
needs to
This is
hit.
ago,
that moment. This is that moment that you're gonna be so upset if it hits.
2 weeks ago, Northern Texas put up 3 points. I know nothing about Eastern Kentucky University. Hopefully, they have a terrible, terrible showing on Saturday or whenever they play. I am taking the under 72 and a half. That is a comically large number. And for the first time on this show's history, I will be taking the under. Probably first and only time. So we can make this a trivia question for some amazing listener in like 5 years from now when we're still doing this.
Hold on. I'm trying to see. Wait, North Texas isn't playing. Wait, what? Joe, North Texas isn't playing Eastern
Oh,
Kentucky.
they're
They're
playing
playing
ECU.
ECU.
ECU. ECU.
You made. Oh my God, Joe.
Whoops. What did I say in the chat? Eastern Kentucky?
Yes, you wrote out Eastern Kentucky.
Oh, I meant Eastern Carolina.
That's
That's my
insane. All
fault.
right, well, that's why the graphics are on. It's Joe's fault, and you know what?
It
It's
is
my
my
fault
fault. I
for.
take full credit. I was so bewildered by taking the under, and
Hand up.
so
Hand up.
I was so upset by taking the under that I missed instead of writing Carolina, I wrote Kentucky. So hopefully Eastern Carolina has a bad showing, not Eastern Kentucky. They can go have a good showing this week. Props to whatever that mascot is. I presume the Governors or something.
Sloppy episode, boys.
Well, we'll get better. We'll go back. We'll watch the film. And we'll be better.
All right. Missouri's a garbage team. Mississippi State's even worse. It's a crime that Missouri's still ranked. They're not good. There no points are being scored in this game. Under 57 and a half. Smash it.
I don't want to look at the under
That's
anymore.
all I have to
You
say.
two disgust me. You two disgust me.
You have
Oh,
taken
that's
an under. You have taken an under.
one. Yeah, one.
So I'm allowed to take my
Oh,
one.
oh. You know what? It takes heart. It takes pride to pick the under week in, week out, to root for defense and garbage football play. It takes a lot of heart, a lot of pride. You have none of it, Nick. Go
You won't see
Tigers.
anybody work harder than me. You won't see any team work harder than me. What's the Tim Tebow speech? What's the rest of it? Nick usually does it on a weekly basis, so I'm looking at
All
Yeah,
you.
I
right,
mean
go
it's
Tigers. End the recording. Go Tigers.
Go Irish.